prior to this, there were at least two versions for the Mavic 2. This one is for the Air 2S. I've had it for a few years now. And now they're working on a gravity drone that has the cameras built into the drone, which I think is a wonderful idea. The thing I don't like about the one that's coming up, and it's always like that for first iterations, right, is that you have to wear these goggles. I still prefer using a controller. So if they release that, that'll be amazing. And I'm sure there are other features coming out, right? And the goggles, the batteries are separated from the battery, or the power supply is separated from the goggles itself. So you gotta wear the battery around your neck and then plug that into the goggles. Not a big deal. It's not like it's gonna be pounds heavy. All right, so this is the one that I've been using now for a few years. I actually love this unit. Let me see how much it weighs actually. So it weighs 6.97 ounces, which is not too bad in the hand. On the drone, you will notice it. And the way how I noticed it is that the drone didn't struggle to fly, but the motors got hot. All right, so talk about the features. Had the two cameras here. These came, you could attach these. They didn't come attached, so you attach these lens guards. And these are the protectors. You obviously take these off before, but these are the lens guards. I actually broke one of them by accident. I think I was trying to reposition it or something happened. I don't know what happened, but it broke more than 2 years ago. But it doesn't interfere with the flight nor the footage. The SD card is in a weird place. It is here. You can see it there. So it's kind of hard to get at, but you know, this little lip here also prevents you from really getting in there. It only has two buttons on here, on, off, and record, start, stop. And this is to let you know the battery level. Press that one time for the battery level. And the battery goes in here. The Insta360 camera batteries, the original batteries, fit in here quite easily. Aftermarket batteries don't work quite as well. Now I wished that the little pull tab was on this side. It just would make sense, right? Because when you try to put it in this way, the tab is now on the inside and you can't get it. So you gotta fiddle with this stuff. So those marks are from me trying to get out an aftermarket battery out of here. And so once it's in there, it just snaps shut. And you have to initiate recording on here, especially if you're far away. So you have to connect this unit to your phone, and then I would initiate recording before I start flying, because if the device is far away from your phone, you lose connection. You can't stop recording. So that's the only thing. So if you have to frame your shot some distance away, this wouldn't be a good idea, because you can't stop recording or take a photo if it's some distance away. If it's close, you can still use the app. So what you would do to overcome that is to start burst shooting, right? And I'll go through all the app settings in just a second. As of now, I haven't found this on the Insta360 website, but it's still available on the open market on eBay and some other places. All right, and aside from that, it has some, let me open this up. It has some padding on here so your drone won't get scratched up, which is pretty cool. These are the cutouts for the sensors on the bottom, and some paddings on all sides. Let me show you how to connect this to the drone. Just line the holes up with the sensors under the bottom. Flip it over. And it's on. Now it does sit a little cat corner, right? So you can't use any legs under here. I did have some extra legs to raise this off the ground. It can't be used with this, but if you have a landing pad, it will be fine. Just make sure your landing pad is clean, and then the lens won't be scratched, right? I wish these were easily replaceable, but they're just glued on. And that's it. And then I would just stop recording. Now, when you turn the unit on, there's a light that comes on the inside that you can barely see. Let me find the button. Oh, it's on this side. So you turn it on, press and hold it. Now you can see the light. You can kind of see it right there, right there. That's the light. And then when you start recording, the light should turn red. You can see it there. And then you can just turn it off, press and hold, and it goes off. All right, so this is the interface. It's now connected to the Insta360 camera, and there's a bunch of options on here. Let's start with the basics. So if you go into the menu, you can see you can take photo, video, HDR video, time lapse, burst, and so on and so forth. Right. So if the camera is close enough to the phone to connect, then you can initiate photo and video. If it's too far away, you lose connection, so you can't initiate or change these settings. You can adjust things like your shutter speed and so on, but only if you're not using HDR video. So if you switch that to video, then the option to adjust your shutter and ISO return. You have large increments between the white balance values. So from 6500, if I want to get to 5600, it doesn't stop. And you can't punch it in. It just jumps from 5000 to 6500. I'm going to leave it at 6500. And low ISO 100, that's the lowest it goes. Or you can't get in between, right? It just jumps from auto to 100. I'm going to use 1/50th of a second. You can also turn on GPS or histogram. So I have the histogram here, so you can see it's all bunched up, and on the screen you can see that it's overexposed. I have it now to set in log. You can use standard, vivid, or log. I'm going to shoot in log, try to color grade it afterwards. I have yet to find any ND filters for this kind of camera, which I don't even know if they exist. So the only option you have to prevent this from being overexposed is to adjust the shutter. So you'd have to go to maybe, I don't know, that's getting a little bit better. You have to crank the shutter, as they say. So you can see it's a little bit better, even more. It's a little bit better. So that's closer to what it would be. Let's see what HDR video looks like. Yes, that's not too bad. I'm still going to crank the shutter and shoot in log. All right, so let's see what we can do. Yes, that looks a little bit better. See, look, it's going to be blown out in the back, you know, because the sun's over to the left. So I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with log for this. Let me see how low I can shoot. Oof. It's a little bit better, I guess. Yeah, let me do that. You know what? Since I'm just doing it for demonstration purposes, let me just use this in HDR video. Yeah, let me do that. HDR video. It's going to change, but it's fine. And that's pretty much it. So you can change it from 5K and your FPS, but you can only have those options change if you go to video. So now it's in video. If you go to your resolution settings, you can change from 5.7K to 4K to 3K, and you can change your FPS here. I'm gonna shoot in HDR video and see how that works out.